Discharge. I started getting... In some way, something knocked us off the air, and we're on a backup system now.
It's the government, or...
I don't know.
It has to be something, though.
Well, did you hear... Now, you tell me, because you were listening.
That was awful strange.
There was a really weird guy on the air when it went off?
Yeah.
Hello? You didn't disconnect me before, did you?
Were you on earlier tonight?
No, not, towards the end of the last hour, you said, east of the Rockies, you're on the air, and your voice was immediately replaced by the operator saying, your party has not connected.
Oh, well, see, as you can now tell, I don't screen calls. So
Right.
What happened, obviously, was that I answered the phone just at the very instant that you had been ringing, as long as they were going to let you ring.
Yeah.
And so that occurs, obviously. Sometimes I go to a line and it's dead and nobody's there, and that's what's happened. You know, we just were on the cusp there. Anyway, I'm glad you made it back through.
Yeah, you got all my paranoia buttons running. I always get very nervous when I call you. I'm Brian. I hung up on you last week.
Oh, I see.
And I just figured, damn the torpedoes. I'll just do this and let the chips fall where they will.
All right.
Everybody, I am the Area 51 caller. That's my statement, and let you or whatever tear it apart.
You claim you're the Area 51 caller?
I am the man.
How do you account for the fact, Area 51 caller,
Okay.
that part of the way through your spiel, the satellite went down?
I have no idea, and it scared the heebie-jeebies out of me that night. I've called a number of times on your specialty line nights doing different, kind of wacky characters, and I didn't know what you wanted me to do. I knew it was very difficult for me to prove to you, but I just thank you for your patience in dealing with me up to this time.
All right.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war?
I pray that her mind may be opened to her. We bind all the powers of darkness. Don't you worry. Who are you? Who are you? The Keeper? Rebecca? Rebecca, Keeper, get out of the way. I command you to stay out of the way. Rebecca?
Yes,
Say, I, Rebecca,
I, Rebecca.
want love. Stay out of the way, Keeper. Stay out of the way. Say,
Love.
I want out.
I want out.
Say, I put my trust
I put my trust
in God.
in God.
In God. Stay out of the way, Keeper.
God.
Mamma mia, no, no, maligno, maligno, è Cristo più forte. Caccialo via. Di la verità. Di la verità.
So what they're doing, in effect, is using the secret society network they've set up to manipulate these bodies into power, but in doing so, they're putting themselves into power because they're controlling the mental and emotional processes of these vehicles. There are many different kinds of entities that do not have a human form, that operate just outside of human sight, and history has recorded them as demons and all this stuff. But the reptilian part of it seems to be very significant to the controlling systems on the planet today.
Today, there's a lot of genetic experiments and the Nephilim being created that are hybrids, and this is a very important part of what the Illuminati is doing. And they have been intermarrying with what the public calls aliens. So that these people aren't human as we would know human. They've been pretty thoroughly demonized. The bottom line is I have concluded that there are no good aliens. The aliens are demons, and we've got a mixture going on of demons and flesh and blood, and we've also got other genetic experiments.
They have a vibrational sympathy with that which interbred with them. And this doesn't have to be physical interbreeding either.
Remember, a demon, get the little spooky picture. They are a fallen angel, an unclean spirit. They can assume any form or go into anything.
I have concluded that there are no good aliens. The aliens are demons.
We can establish through this testimony that these objects of extraterrestrial origin have been tracked on radar going thousands of miles per hour, stopping and making right-hand turns. That they use anti-gravity propulsion systems, which we have already figured out how they work. That extraterrestrial life forms have been retrieved, and their vehicles have been taken and studied thoroughly for at least 50 years.
It's human nature to want to believe in some race of benevolent space brothers that will come and save us from ourselves. But it's not logical, and you can't make it work any way you look at it.
This grand plan is going to take people are going to eat the stuff. Because it says spirits, demon spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.
Some might call it a power lunch, but it sounded more like a reunion of brothers.
The Illuminati were to obtain control of the press and all other agencies which distribute information to the public. News and information was to be slanted so the Goyams would come to believe that a one world government is the only solution to our many and varied problems. Their plot, their plans, their conspiracy remains invisible.
The whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish.
And then he says at the end of this is he will give you 666.
Behind them is a cult of evil, which seeks to harm the innocent and thrives on human suffering. Evil has found a willing servant.
So you make your list of hypotheses.